Danke.
So that was basically the entire explanation already, but let's give them on stage, ladies and gentlemen, with a big round of applause here. Benedict, Patrick, and Kai. Hi. Welcome, guys. Hello. Nice to have you.
Hello.
So the stage is yours. Enjoy.
Hello, my name is Kai, and I'm from codestryke. Together with Benedict and Patrick, I want to present you our solution for the MTI mixing technology case. We have a fourth man here, it's Philip, he's our key account manager. But let's start. First of all, I want to explain you some of our innovative features. So usually the focus lies on connecting raw machine data with the cloud. But in this way, the useful know-how of machine operators or experts is just available for a small group of people. So this is why we implement social features to our app. Let's talk about our first feature. It's the per meter feed. The per meter feed is similar to the Twitter timeline. So you have an overview for all changes that have made to the process. This is so recent changes are displayed on the top, so it is easy to figure out which change may have broke the process. The per meter feed is most of the per meter feed is generated automatically, and there's a manual part which is for comments, so some of the users can explain why they have made this change.
I will now explain one of the most important features of our app, which is the Mixology analytics page. Here you can compare all machine data and also analyze it. But you can also add comments to the data if you know more about what happened at a specific data point. For example, a machine operator can add a comment what maybe the cause of a temperature spike was or how we could solve this problem. You can also define thresholds and detailed set points to explain how normal data looks like, so everyone can compare the actual data against the current data. And the app also recognizes trends for easier assessment of the data. Another very exciting feature of our MindSphere app is the parameter time machine, where you can basically time travel in your process. On the top you have a list of all parameter changes, a timeline, and if you click on a specific date, you can compare the parameter values from before with the current parameter values. And the most important point of this is you can also revert the parameter values back to the old value if something broke the mixing process and you now want to go back to the old working value. And if you select a specific parameter, there's also a line chart which displays the time series data of this parameter. But you can also set up different settings per parameter. For example, you can define thresholds. If a parameter is changed by maybe 10%, you can notify an expert, or if it's changed by more than 50%, you can notify a supervisor. You also don't have to know the email address or telephone number of the supervisor. You just specify the role, and the app has stored somewhere else who the supervisor for the current machine is. You can also start what we call a parameter trail, where you change a parameter by, for example, 5 degrees, and a time period after which you can check back on the process if it's still working well. So you change the parameter by 5 degrees, and after 2 weeks, a process expert gets a notification to check back if the parameter has worked, and then he can confirm that the parameter is working well, and he also, within the app, the parameter is flagged as working and is marked green.
We also implemented a powerful reporting feature. With this feature, you can generate reporting templates which can be filled with your machine process data to generate detailed reports of your mixing process. The reports can be trail protocols or production protocols, or can be even configured in any way you like. Every report consists out of multiple elements, which can be, for example, pie, line, or bar charts, or even description text or data tables. As another very important feature, we implemented the possibility to that reports can be scheduled to run daily, weekly, or monthly, so you always stay up to date what is going on in your mixing process. Additionally, reports can be shared as PDF with your coworkers. Now, I want to highlight some of our previous work, which will help us to realize this dashboard solution. We already realized a similar dashboard solution, which helps to optimize process in digital advertising. It analyzes billions of data points to display all requested KPIs, like MindSphere. It runs on Amazon Web Services to provide maximum availability and security. We also did a little 3D visualization, 3D and physics visualization of a little industrial plant, which can be connected to a PLC sim or even S7 CPUs. These were the highlights of our solution. We are happy to provide more information during the QA session.
All right, that was nice. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Now, just watching the jury while they were performing and presenting, when they came to the Mixology analytics chart, I saw some of you nodding your heads like, they thought of something there. Are they onto something? What are your questions? Please.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. That was very refreshing, and you really hit it on the head. I could really find our machines exactly in your dashboard as you showed it. And I appreciate the efforts because you used our data set points, you used PVC and all the other stuff. It gives us a great impression, basically, what could be behind that app. Let me please understand the structure of your company. You said in the beginning it was founded this year. Is that correct?
Yes.
Where is it based? How many people are you? Who owns it?
So we are 3 developer in the company, and it is based in the south of Germany. And we have a 4th man. He is our key account manager. He managed the whole process. And we got a 3rd developer, which more than 10 years experience, which support us to realize these projects.
Well, looking at your presentation, I can tell that you put a lot of time into it. To basically use the data to show us something, which I want to say one more time was very refreshing. What's your personal background on studying and?
We 3 of us worked 3 years as automation technicians in the industry, and so we gained a lot of experience how the process in the industry works.
I have a question. How did you get started in this? Because you say you have an industry background. Was there some certain point of frustration you reached, or?
After we finished our training, we worked for a few months, and then we decided to leave the company and chase our own projects.
Okay, that's a humble way of putting it. And there was also one question you didn't answer. How's your company financed? Who owns the company?
It's bootstrapped, so it doesn't have any investors, and it's owned by us for evenly.
Okay, loving that. Gentlemen, any other questions? Please.
I have a question regarding MindSphere. What we have seen, what you have shown here, are this in terms of MindSphere, is this still like mock-ups, or do you have any proof of concepts, MVPs already realized in MindSphere?
This is only mock-ups, but the dashboard you have seen is a real product. So we did the full front end, but it was an advertising project, so it didn't have the MindSphere connection. But we, of course, want to use MindSphere and make this a Node.js app, which then connects to MindSphere APIs and reads the data and then visualizes it in the front end.
And have you already discussed between all 3 of you how you want to store, how you want to deal with the data? Obviously, we talked about recipe data. Have you already decided what database you might want to use? Or in terms of the technical, did you already have identified your technical concept in more details?
I think we have identified most of the concepts. In the case, it was specified that there are S7 1500 CPUs in the machines and MindConnect Nano PCs, which already connect the data to MindSphere. And there it's stored as time series data, and then we can read it using Node.js from the APIs. And for the user system and the comments, we also want to use Cloud Foundry's Postgres SQL component.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Just one short, and again, thank you for the presentation. It was very good. One question. Today, when you look at the reports, basically that's a picture from the past. are you already in a situation where you can make some predictions out of the data that are there? Are you applying concepts which allow you, for example, to say, based on the data which is here, I can see a machine breaking in 3 days from now?
I think this is not really, also from the case we read it, that this is not an application that should do predictive maintenance or something only that focuses mainly on
it was just an example. I mean, can you run predictions, any sort of prediction out of the data you were working on? Is this something you were planning to have in your platform?
If it's desired by the customer, we of course can integrate this via native AWS services, Kinesis or something like that.
Okay. Last question from me. What's your company's next milestone? What's the next thing you're working towards?
We want to gain customers in the industry and build basically a service company for industry data and MindSphere.
If you gentlemen are happy, I'm happy.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for the questions and thank you for the presentation. Once again, our gentleman from codestryke. By the way, if you wish to speak to any of our teams afterwards, they are here for you the entire day. We have everybody here from Team Fast Forward, who presented first, Efficiency Systems, codestryke we just had right now. And once again, go to the online voting site to vote for your team, for the team you think has the best solution. Once again, siemens.com/vote now. You can also do this. I think we have some QR codes laying out here. All you have to do is scan that in, and it'll lead you right to the site.